Look what it has on it.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And in this video I'm going to be going through my round 16 AFL tips and predictions, as well as going through my round 15 predictions and the big calls. Just like in every week, I'll go through how I went last week in the tipping. It was a decent round for me. I think I got 5 or 6, so we'll go over them. Brisbane v Geelong. I tipped the Cats. I thought they'd come back strong after last week's performance against the Dogs, but no, the Lions got the job done. And then Richmond v Saints. Probably upset around. Yeah, I think we all went the Tigers. Even as a Saints fan, I had little confidence we get the job done, but surprisingly we ended up beating them by 40 and keeping them to their lowest score since 1961, so you'll take that. Collingwood v Freo. I think most people probably tipped Collingwood here. I actually went for the Dockers, and I got this one correct, so I'll take that. Then in the next game, North v Gold Coast. I tipped North in the tipping video, but for whatever reason I accidentally clicked on Gold Coast on the ESPN tipping app, but I'm just going to count it because I tipped North. I thought they were going to win. I tipped Port to beat the Swans, and in Essendon v Melbourne, I tipped Melbourne to win by around the 15-point mark, and they won by 11. So my tips haven't been so bad for Saturday, that's for sure. Then moving on to the Sunday games, I tipped the Giants to beat the Hawks. I think like we all did. I wasn't expecting the Hawks to win that, but it was a good win. I tipped the Dogs to beat the Eagles. I didn't think it'd be that big of a smashing. Completely obliterated the Eagles. And then Carlton v Adelaide, I predicted the Blues to win. So 6 out of 9, 5 out of 9, whatever way you want to see it, I still didn't really do too amazing, but I guess you'll take that. And we move on to the big calls, and yeah, this was quite poor for me. But first one in the Geelong v Brisbane game was for there to be 9 more lead changes, and I don't think there was a single lead change. Richmond v St Kilda, I predicted the Tigers to lead at every break, and I got, yeah, that definitely was wrong because the Saints were up at every break, surprisingly enough. North v Suns, I predicted North to come back from three-quarter time and to win. North were up at three-quarter time, they still won. I predicted it to be 14 or more combined behind scored in a half. I think, funnily enough, the whole game, 14 behinds was scored in that game, so that was definitely incorrect. I predicted Max Gawn to have 43 or more hitouts, and I think he only had 35, so it was sort of close. Still didn't get that correct, and I predicted Boak and Wines to combine for 65 or more touches, and they only combined for around 58. Well, let's go through the last three. I said Hawthorn will go goalless in any quarter, and that didn't happen. So already I've got to do the big call for this week. And then the last two, McRae to have 35 touches and Kennedy to have 3 goals. Didn't happen, but I got the last one correct. I did say that Carlton would lead by 5 or more goals at any stage of the match, and they were up by 34 at one stage. So 1 out of 9, not great. Let me quickly just go through to see which punishment I have to do for next time. Mitch Ryan, 146 likes, and it was for me to sleep on my trampoline for a night. Now the thing about that one is I actually did do that the other day because if you watch the weekly vlog, I got locked out of my house, so it's an achievable punishment, that's for sure, and you guys will see that in the next week's episode. And before we do get into it, I also want to show you guys that I did do the cake punishment. Mitch thought of it beforehand, and he caked me, so enjoy that little clip.
Alright, I'm in Woolworths now. I need to buy a cake for Cardi to put in his face. He doesn't know I'm getting it. I saw the punishment and I thought that wasn't really the best idea. Like, it wouldn't work. It wasn't really a punishment to Cardi, it's more like a punishment to me, so I think I'll get him back, and hopefully this will count as a punishment. Alright, here's the cake. I'm going to get it, hopefully it works. Alright, I've got the cake out. I just need to put the Port Adelaide logo on now. So, you know what? I'll film myself quickly doing that. Alright, I've opened up the cake, now the moment of truth. We got the cake. Let's go put it in his face. Cardi. Oh, I got you a cake.
Get stuff.
I got you a cake. Look what it has on it. Let me try that again.
Oh! Oh! He's got the cake flying.
Jesus, man. Wait, it didn't even go in his face.
What are we going to do with that? What do we actually...
There you go,
but let's go through my round 16 AFL tips and predictions. And the first game, we've got Gold Coast taking on Richmond at Metricon Stadium. Now, and I don't know if this game's going to be moved because I heard that Queensland, they might be going into lockdown or they might be going to hubs, which is terrible for me because if you guys don't know, I'm planning on going to Gold Coast on Sunday, and it's looking very little of a chance of that happening now, which is annoying. But let's just say it is played at Metricon. Even if it was played really anywhere, I think will we be leading on the Tigers? I mean, I know last week I thought the Tigers would go, just dominate against the Saints, but the Suns, there aren't many promises for them. They're just looking flat. I mean, they lost to the Roos. I know they weren't terrible, like it was only a 10-point loss, but just didn't watch the game. It just doesn't look like they're on this year. I don't know what's the problem with them. Tigers, though, they were horrible. Their skills against the Saints, like I was very surprised how bad they were. Yeah, they only scored 22 points. So two teams are in some poor form. If Richmond don't win this, I don't see them making finals. So this is almost a must-win just to stay in the finals hunt. And I'll go Richmond by 20. And the big call will be that both teams score under 75 points. Next game, we've got Friday night footy, which I'll most likely stream. We've got Geelong taking on Essendon at GMHBA Stadium. The Cats, well, the Bombers, I should say, have never played at GMHBA, or at least haven't played there for a long time. I know they would have played there actually back in the VFL days, but I don't recall the last time the Bombers have played there. So definitely the advantage goes to the Cats in that front, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bombers pull off an upset win. They did it against the Eagles at Optus. What goes to say that they can't do it against the Cats? Both teams came off a loss last week, but I'd have to say that the Cats are the more disappointing side. I don't really catch this game, but yeah, the Lions dominated from the get-go, and scoring shots as well, 13 goals, 16 to 7-8. So they dominated and they doubled the scoring shot to the Cats. And yeah, it was not a great night for the Cats. And the Bombers, they were gallant against the D's. I thought they could have won the game. They had a lot of chances that they missed, and the umpires, of course, everyone says that was one of the worst umpiring displays in a while, and it was pretty bad. There were calls that definitely Essendon should have gotten. I don't know if that would have changed the result of the game because the Bombers had their chances in the end, but at the same time, the D's were 9 goals 13, so they also had their chances. So I still think the D's deserve to win that, but the Bombers weren't too bad at all. I was at that game. If you want to watch the vlog, it's done pretty crap. Go and check it out. Link in description. So the increase in fans will definitely give the Cats the greater advantage. Even if there were no fans, I still would tip the Cats. They're a better side than the Bombers, but the Bombers, I think, will take it up to them for most of the game. So I'm going to go Geelong by 25 points. And a random big call, you never know, this could get up. Geelong kicked the last 2 goals of the game. We'll move on to the Saturday games. In the first game, we got Melbourne taking on GWS at the MCG. Both sides, well, one side came off a win. The other side came off a very disappointing loss. Melbourne weren't too convincing against the Bombers, if I'm going to be completely honest. Their forward line wasn't really working too well. A lot of chances they could have missed, like in that last quarter, or that third quarter, they had a lot of chances, and so in that first. So, it wasn't too impressive from the Demons, but they got it done, and that's what good sides do. They didn't have to play at their best, which I'm sure they'll save it for when they play against the very top sides. And the GWS Giants were very disappointing against the Hawks. I watched a bit of this match. I watched the end of it actually. And it looked, early on I saw the scores. So I'm like, oh, Giants should win this. They were up by 3 goals at quarter time. But then the tables turned. The Hawks just got back in the contest. But yeah, I don't think too many people are going to go the Giants here. They could. They're the sort of team that could win this. They're way too safe to tip the D's. They're going to win this game. It's at the G. They haven't lost a game at the G yet this year, so I don't see them losing their first against the Giants. I'll go Melbourne to win this one comfortably by 33 points. With my big call being that Melbourne lead at every break by more than 10 points. And the next game, we've got Adelaide taking on Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval. I don't know if, seriously, all games outside of Victoria now, I don't even know if they're going to reschedule or not. I'm assuming they won't, and there'll be a crowd here. But, yeah, again, one team got a win, one team got a loss. Adelaide, they were decent. They started the game off well, and they just had that poor second quarter where they let the Blues kick 8 goals to 3. But they came back in the contest after half-time, and I really thought they could have won that. Scholl had a chance at the end, but he missed an easy one. So I don't know. I don't know what to take on that game for the Crows. I guess they weren't too bad because many thought the Blues were going to win, and they did. And the Lions, well, they were very impressive, and it keeps their top 4 chances very much intact. In fact, they're most likely going to make top 4. I'd be surprised if they don't. Adelaide knocked off the Demons and the Cats at home, so what goes to say they can't do it against the Lions? But I'm not here to tip upsets. I could theoretically tip the Crows, but I'll go safe. I just don't see the Lions in the form that they're at right now beating the Crows, who aren't in the greatest patch of form at the moment. So I will go the Lions in this one. I think they'll win it easily by 26 points, but my big call will be that Adelaide lead at least 1 break. And the next game, we've got Fremantle taking on Carlton at Optus Stadium. This could well and truly be moved to potentially Melbourne or something after what has happened down in WA. They've gone into lockdown, so I don't know if they'll be played there and there'll just be no crowds, or that'll be moved somewhere else. But nonetheless, there'll be a lack of home. There won't be a home crowd advantage for the Dockers because there aren't going to be any fans supporting them at the game. So yeah, that makes me almost want to change my tip, because I was going into this one pretty confident the Dockers would win. They've been in much better form. They're a better side overall, in my opinion. They came off a good win against the Pies. Now, I think the Blues have won the last 3 or 4 games against the Dockers, so they have, they have a grudge over them at the moment, but I just don't see the Dockers dropping this one. They got to make finals. They want to push for finals, and this is a game they just have to win. Regardless or not whether it's at Optus or in Melbourne, I still think the Dockers have what it takes. They're not a great marble side. They knocked off the Pies there last week, so I think they can hold on here, but it'll be a close game regardless of the outcome. I'll go Fremantle to win by 12, and my big call will be that Josh Tracy and Rory Lobb combined for 6 or more goals. So now we move on to the last Saturday game, which is between Hawthorn and Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium. Yeah, Burgoyne's 400th this is going to be, so it's going to be a big game for them. I could almost potentially see the Hawks getting up just because of Burgoyne, but Port have a lot at stake at the moment. They want to keep, in the hunt for the top 4 race, and if they lose this, I don't see them making it. So it's going to be a tough game. Probably not necessarily a tough game to predict. I think Port should win this. They're a better side, and the Hawks, can they back up their performance of last week? If they play like they did against the Giants, they'll be in the hunt, that's for sure. The Power last week, they were pretty good, but they almost lost it in the end against the Swans. The Swans weren't bad either, so it was a good game. I didn't watch it, but it was a good game. Now, I just don't see the Power losing this one, because their form against bottom 10 sides, I think they've won every game. Obviously, against top 8 sides, it's a different story, and the Power haven't really been good in that front, but I think this should be a win to the Power. I know it's away and all, but they're a better side. Even it being Burgoyne's 400th, I'm going to go Port to win this one by 37 points. But my big call will be that Burgoyne kicks 3 or more goals. I have a feeling that they're going to try and get him some goals because it's his milestone game. And we move on to the Sunday games, and this one's an interesting one, like a very interesting one. Sydney taking on West Coast at GMHBA Stadium. Now, I have no idea who to predict here. West Coast came off an absolute shocking loss against the Dogs. They could have easily lost this game by 100 points, honestly, because the Dogs scored 13 goals, 20. They had 33 scoring shots to 13. This was at Optus as well. I know there were no fans, but you'd think regardless they should have, been able to play a lot better, but no, that wasn't the case. And the Swans, well, they definitely played better than the Eagles. They didn't get the job done, but they were in the game for all of it. They just fell short at the end. Franklin was almost the difference at the end. Kicked 3 goals in the last quarter. But yeah, it was just not enough for the Swans, and the Power got that win. Being at GMHBA, there is no advantage. I don't know what team plays better at GMHBA. If any team, I feel like Sydney. I feel like they beat a good side, whilst the Cats have been a good side in the recent times. That they probably got a few wins down at GMHBA. I don't think the Eagles have won there since 2006, and of course we all know what happened last time they played at GMHBA. They lost by 100 points. In this one, I'm going to go the Swans. I think this will be a close game. I don't see it being a smashing either way. I'll go Sydney by 11, with my big call being that Lance Franklin kicks at least 1 goal in every quarter. Now, the next game is between Collingwood and St Kilda at the MCG. I still don't know whether or not I'm going to this game. Whether or not the holiday to Gold Coast, which I'll be leaving on Sunday, is going to be cancelled because of COVID. I've got no idea. I could be at this game, I might not be. Anyways, into this game, I caught both of the games that the sides played in last week, the full games. I was at Collingwood v Freo. Collingwood started the game off quite well against the Dockers. They kicked the first 2 goals, but then they let the Dockers come back into the game, and then they ended up kicking 10 of the next 15 goals to lead by 3 goals at 3/4 time. The Pies, their game plan in the second and third quarter was just flat. They were just going slow, backwards. It was just not pretty to watch. Like, they were just look like a crap side, but they got back in that last quarter. I'll give it to the Pies. It was a good fight back. They almost snatched the victory at the end, but the Dockers just held their ground, and they ended up winning that by 2 goals, which, for the Dockers' sake, keeps them in the hunt for the finals. And speaking of hunt in the finals, technically the Saints are still in the mix after that win against the Tigers last week. I was very happy. I just had no hope or confidence coming into that one. See, I tell you what, St Kilda have got to be the most inconsistent side in the comp. I mean, we can play like that against the Tigers. We played so well against the Cats, just couldn't kick straight, and against the Eagles as well. I mean, seriously, we could be a top 8 side if we play like we did against the Tigers every week. So, assuming the good Saints shows up, or at least the decent Saints shows up, I think we can easily beat the Pies. I know it's an MC. I know it is away, but you know, we beat Tigers at the G. If we can beat the Tigers at the G, we can beat the Pies at the G. They're not that good, the Pies. I know, you know, they've been all right as of late, but I got to be tipping the Saints here. People say don't tip against your own team. Well, I'm not going to tip against my own team here. I tip the Saints by 19 points. Big call. Saints score 7 more behinds than goals. It's probably not even a big call at this rate. And then the last game, which I'm sure not many people will catch. I won't be catching it, that's for sure. We've got Western Bulldogs take on North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. Obviously, we all know what happened last time these two teams met. I streamed it, and the Dogs won by 128 points. Josh Bruce kicked 10, and it was just a complete one-sided affair. And it has the potential for this to happen, considering how well the Dogs dismantled the Eagles last week. But on the other side of it, North have been playing some pretty good footy lately. They beat the Suns last week. They were very competitive against the Lions. They drew to the Giants. They played well against the Saints. They weren't great against the Bombers, but in the week prior they beat the Hawks. So their form as of late, the North, they're probably better right now than a few sides. Obviously I'm going to go the Dogs in this one, but margin-wise, I'll probably go around 10 goals, 65 points. That'll probably happen. 65 points I'll go the Dogs by. Big call, Bruce and Norton combined for 10 or more goals. Bruce was quiet last week, Norton wasn't. Bruce always plays well against North, so we'll have another great day. And yeah, kick a bag. So those were my round 15 or 16, whatever round we were in this time. I think 16 tips and predictions. Hopefully in terms of big calls, I get, you know, 3 or more. You guys already know this. If you're new, comment down a punishment that you want to see me do. If I get less than 3 of these big calls correct, I'll try and do it in the coming weeks. But obviously, as I say every week, be something appropriate and something that I can actually do. That's not going to get me into trouble. Something that'll be funny and all. Yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, let me know. Leave a like. Hopefully, since this video is uploaded on a Tuesday, it does better than the last couple. They were uploaded on the Wednesday. And if anyone wants to know when the giveaway winners will come out, it'll come out most likely on either the Wednesday or the Thursday. I just haven't really had the time to properly get that sorted. So if you still want to enter, go on my latest, go on the giveaway video and enter for your chance to win a Sharon Footy or an Amazon gift card. And I'll see you guys soon in my next video.